Hello, good afternoon. My name is Raymond Goncalves. In this presentation, I would like to speak about the process of human resources in an organization. I will make efforts to identify, describe, and discuss the different challenges that human resource face, especially with the day and age in technology and a lot of online applicants. It appears that the face-to-face traditional interaction seems to be phasing out. I had obtained an interview with a human resource analyst who was very helpful. She prefers to keep her name nameless. However, for the purpose of this presentation, her name will be identified as Ms. Jane Doe. The organization that was selected is the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. She has worked there for approximately 10 years at the human resource analyst capacity. She's overseen multiple applications, internal and external. And her position is to make certain that each process is met. Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office is the third largest agency of the 67 Florida counties. It employs approximately 4,000 employees. Within the 4,000 employees, there is a mixture of sworn law enforcement, corrections, civilian employees, volunteers. The volunteers are an older, pretty much retired type of clientele that they handle special events, community observance units. Civilian positions are the more administrative aspect, accounting, finances. They are a support function of the sworn officers, which consist of, like I mentioned, the deputy sheriffs, the detectives, and corrections. With such a large group of individuals, a process must be in place in order to process the applications. It's a critical role, the progression of each employee, because one may miss out on a skill level or a trait that can be oversighted. So I would like to explain the process that the organization uses to properly process an applicant. And the design that they follow appears to be quite effective. So any and all positions, they are posted online, whether it's internal or external, and that is for a 2-week period. This allows the applicant to go back and review, update, omit, change any type of information that was on the application. The majority of the applications are completed online. However, there is a small percentage of applicants who have different challenges using a computer or any other technical equipment, electronic equipment. Therefore, the opportunity is provided to them to come into the facility and complete a handwritten application in person. Once the application has been submitted, a human resource specialist receives that application, reviews it, and there is 48 hours upon receipt of the application that the specialist must contact the applicant. And that is to inform them the application has been received, the minimum requirements has been fulfilled. At that point, once the minimum requirements have all been fulfilled, the testing process begins. For any particular type of positions they're applying for requires different type of testing. Now, once they successfully pass the testing process, the file then gets assigned to a human resource analyst. Human resource analyst was described previously as Ms. Jane Doe. She reviews the files and begins the hiring process. Once the person enters the hiring process, the status online is now changed, allowing the applicants to follow the progress of the application. Human resource, they generate 9 questions. 6 job knowledge questions, 6 technical questions. On top of that, there are also 3 behavioral type questions, which is also known as an HR question. These are standard questions. All applicants must answer them. The panel is a diverse panel that consists of it's a 3-person panel that consists of a male, female, black, white, depending on the candidate who is applying, will sit on the panel to ask the questions. The interesting part is that this is not considered an interview process. It's more of a get to know, so it's not labeled an interview. An interview guide is developed by the human resource, and that includes all the different phases that they have to process to. When it goes background investigations, when it goes to investigators who goes out and verifies the information that was on the application. It also consists of polygraph, follow-up. So the human resource analyst acts as a case agent for the case. So once all the check boxes have been completed, the applicant now is ready for hire, and they are placed on an eligibility list. That eligibility list is good for 1 year. And in an internal application, once that eligibility list has been established, that list gets sent over to the department manager, division manager, or the detective bureau of whoever has that opening for review. At that point, when it's time to offer a position, then an email is sent offering that position to the applicant, and they must reply whether they continue, whether they would like to accept the offer or not. So some of the recommendations that was provided from the Jane Doe, who she believes will help better have a streamline, is to reduce the costing, training, and testing, would be limit the testing for individuals who has prior law enforcement experience. For example, a officer who has a current position at an agency and wishes to apply to the sheriff's office, they must attend a mandatory 13-week training and gets in the same eligibility list as a person who has no experience. She believes that by creating a preference list, it will select more qualified candidates who has the experience, and it will also limit the cost and training that will have to be inputted for an applicant. And a second recommendation would be provide sponsorships to certain applicants. However, the applicants would have to show some type of community service, show their passion, their desire to help others within the community. If someone is willing to work on a volunteer basis, then when they do get compensated for their work, you know that a lot of times that they tend to go a little further in their career, and their passion for the job and their motive is not just for financial rewards. As of this year, is a concern is that they no longer do interviews for sworn individuals. That would be law enforcement, corrections, and correction specialist support people. Those are the individuals who help people at civilians who are not officers, but they're just a support staff. Any position that holds a training program, which is a 13-week period for a regular deputy, there is no interview process. This is very critical not to have this, and it's highly recommended. And not only Miss Jane Doe recommends it, but there's a lot of others, individuals who would like to see this come back. Interpersonal skills, I think, is a great attribute to have, especially when we're attempting to hire individuals who has to communicate with the public. And as they progress through their career, the further up the supervisory and leadership positions, they will be required to hold meetings, presentations, and speak to the public. Raising the age to approximately 25 years old for sworn officers, whether it's corrections or law enforcement, is a great recommendation, as most men really don't mature until they get to mid-20s, sometimes later. So right now the hiring age is 18 years of age, which is coming out of high school, somebody can apply. That doesn't necessarily mean that they will get a position, but that allows an individual to apply. Streamlining the applications, making it more bias, not allowing political or networking influences is another recommendation. Sometimes someone of authoritative figure can influence the application, and another recommendation was to possibly streamline the hiring process to a third party. However, ultimately, the human resource will have the final say. So, in conclusion, I think that the process is an effective one because we currently have approximately 100 applicants on the pipeline. At any given time, they are ready to be hired once the leaders provide that approval. It's important to interview all applicants, regardless of the position. I think it definitely helps to better understand them, pick up any indicators, and just simply converse with somebody during an interview is critical to any organization. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and that'll be all.